Okay, so how's your day going?
It was okay. Like I started a bit stressful, but now I'm feeling a little bit better.
That's good. How do you primarily deal with stress?
Mm, well, we're just when I just got on about my day, so maybe just still doing stuff.
Just getting things
It's
done,
just
taking
yeah,
action. Hmm.
yeah.
What about if things are kind of building up and you can only do one thing at a time and you're starting to feel overloaded?
Mm, Not sure. Like maybe I'll just go online to see what other people feeling similar are saying.
Mm.
But or maybe if it's really bad, maybe I'll just find a time where I could cry secretly in the shower or something.
Mm.
But
Does that
but
not
yeah,
happen
it's
very much though?
not very.
That's good.
So yeah, just stuff like that. Because yeah, I don't really feel like talking to any of the people I
Mm.
live with about it.
Mm. Yeah, I think sometimes I know I've dealt with it this way when I worked at the same job you're at. Like sometimes don't you deal with it by sleeping?
Oh
Like
yeah, that too.
after a stressful day at work, just kind of sleeping
Yeah,
early.
yeah, I like to sleep. So like that's another way.
Yeah, I think sleeping's one of the best ways. Although,
Yeah,
you don't want to sleep too much, I guess.
yeah, and then maybe the worst one is I just like food, so just
Yeah.
eating sweets and stuff.
Yeah.
It's something I do more often when I'm stressed.
Yeah, I do too. Not the sweets part, but just big meals. I used to eat
Mm.
big meals and then go to sleep soon afterwards. It's not a good idea at all. Do you notice a difference? You said you haven't been exercising much recently. You notice a difference in sort of how happy you are?
Um, well, yeah, I'm definitely not that I was confident before, but probably still more happier with myself when I was exercising more.
That's just sort of
So,
ego, sort of self-esteem, sort of.
uh, a little bit of that, but then I just like, yeah, I like the feeling of having having my life together too.
Yeah, kind of like what
So,
you're talking about before.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
think having one's ducks in a row help.
yeah, and then like I noticed my health seems to be sliding back again too. Um, so yeah, I don't like that as well. And yeah, I'm just feel like my clothes are more limited too that I can wear because I'm like very hyper critical of how something looks like on me. So if I
Mm.
feel I'm too big for it, I won't wear it at all.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
yeah. So right now I'm like all like limited to dark clothing
Mm.
when I'm
Uh,
out.
Hides more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe it falls under ego too.
Mm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a place for ego, and ego has something to do with our relationships too, at least how other
Yeah.
people see us, and maybe how we sort of present ourselves or something. Yeah. So, any thoughts of we both watched Oppenheimer yesterday remotely together. I watched it for the third time,
Mm.
and you watched it for the first time. You have
Uh-huh.
any thoughts about that, or tell us how you liked it?
Well, I like the movie. Yeah, and I guess I was just kind of thinking about the relationships that people had with each other too.
Mm.
Um, and I was kind of wondering what he saw in that communist lady because,
Jean Tatlock, the one
yeah, because,
he was with before his wife, and
yeah,
then the one he had an affair with.
yeah, because from how I saw, he just seemed more reluctant about her and maybe less attached than she was to him. So I'm wondering if he was even actually into her in the first place.
Are you sure it was almost more the opposite, I think? I mean, he wanted to be with her, but she told him something like, don't call or and then he said something like she calls him, and then she said don't answer, and then he said I'll always answer, which became something in the
Mm,
movie, which later on
mm,
he didn't answer after a while, but he
mm.
was, he couldn't, and he was married, and also she was a communist, and
Oh,
he
okay.
was on the
Well,
Manhattan Project.
well, I thought he
But
just
yeah,
felt more like an obligation just because she was mentally unwell and not necessarily that he was like into her.
no,
Yeah.
I mean I think he was trying to see her, but as he later said, he's not really what she wanted. I mean, I don't know if I got that totally wrong, but I think it's more like she was wild and fiery, and he liked her more than she liked him, or maybe he was able to be with her more than she was able to be with him, or maybe with anybody.
Mhm.
But yeah, she was definitely, yeah, she had, unstable, depression.
Mm,
What else did you think about the relationships?
mm. Well, there's a lot of them.
How'd you like the movie overall?
Yeah, I think overall I liked it. Like I will watch it again.
Mm. How'd you like maybe Inception, or maybe the Batman movies are your favorite of Christopher Nolan's?
Well, out of all the ones I watched so far, like up until this one, I think this one I would probably rank it pretty high too. Maybe top three or something.
Do you like the protagonist that has darkness and complexity or something, kind of like Batman?
Yeah. Yeah, and he seems to kind of do that a lot with his movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say kind of like
Uh
most of his movies.
yeah, pretty much every one of them.
Of
Um
course, I mean, as opposed to what? Someone who's happy-go-lucky and simple, like a drama that doesn't really make.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like those probably aren't as touching or something. Lots
Yeah.
of people.
And the story wouldn't be as interesting, and there wouldn't be as much possibility maybe with the visuals
Yeah.
too, and the
Yeah, like
music.
seems to do a lot with just like darkness and light, things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe like more literally in this one because of the
Don't you
atomic
like
bomb.
don't you like his kind of character, like the sort of moody artist type?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of person I mean I'm more attracted to already. So I think just a lot of the protagonists will appeal to me already.
Yeah.
I remember when uh what's it called? What was the actor called for this one again?
I think it's pronounced Killian Murphy or
Cillian
Cillian
Murphy.
Murphy.
Yeah, I think he was my first movie crush. I was watching the Batman Begins when he played Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's kind of memorable to me for that way
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
that. Again, he was just playing just like a moody, troubled kind of character.
Yeah,
Uh,
unstable.
yeah, unstable.
You still think he's attractive?
Hmm. I think maybe in this one, like, well, I guess he's still an attractive older man now, but I don't find him as appealing as
Mm.
as the Cillian, the Scarecrow character. Because
Yeah,
in that
he's
one, I
maybe
guess
in
he
his
was,
40s now.
yeah, but yeah, I'd still say he's still attractive, but maybe just not so much as my type anymore.
Mm. Well, seen or heard any interesting podcasts on cryptids, or what's the word for animals that we don't, cryptozoology or something? Is that like mysterious animals, like not Bigfoot maybe because he's maybe more human, but
Uh,
werewolves or things like that?
yeah, it's like cryptozoology is like the study of that, and then like you said, cryptids are what we call those kinds of creatures.
Oh, okay.
And I think Bigfoot is still considered a cryptid.
Oh, okay. Because he is a
Uh,
mysterious creature.
yeah, yeah, he's the most famous one,
Maybe it
obviously.
doesn't matter if they're human or animal.
Yeah, I think the definition is just any sort of creature that hasn't been proven to exist. So
Okay.
the giant squid was once considered a cryptid until it was discovered to actually be real.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they've discovered carcasses of giant squid, right? But they don't know much about them because they live really far down or something. But that some
Yeah,
carcasses have washed ashore or something.
yeah, I don't know too much about how much they know on them, but I just remember that sailors in the past would have a
Yeah.
lot of these stories and stuff that people thought were myths
Yeah.
about these things kind of attacking ships and such.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they actually do attack ships, but they were already in the imagination a lot.
Mm. Yeah.
And yeah, and they were proven to exist.
Hmm. Yeah, seen any good podcasts on those or aliens?
I think yesterday I was watching one, maybe not so much on cryptids, but just I guess there's kind of these almost like shifts in reality people have been talking about how they're just walking around somewhere
Hmm.
and they suddenly encounter like a barrier of sorts
Hmm.
and that they can't like walk past it, kind of sort of something invisible.
Hmm.
So there was this one account of a lady that was trying to park in a space, and then when she tried to enter it, there was this barrier and she couldn't move the car in.
Hmm.
And it wasn't that she was just a crappy driver, because several other cars would try to do the same thing of taking that space, only to be met with some sort of barrier
Hmm.
that wouldn't let them in. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, there's kind of, and I think there was a case in France I was listening to about this one elderly lady. She was living in some like elderly apartments. And when she went and tried to get in the apartment, there was some sort of barrier and she couldn't come in.
Hmm.
So then she called the landlord and then her brother to come in. And eventually, like, authorities got involved and they thought she was just crazy, like maybe had, dementia or something.
Hmm.
But then all these people testified that there was like some sort of barrier in there and they
Hmm.
couldn't go in. But
Hmm.
then eventually it went back to normal.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, then all those kind of modern accounts kind of led to uh they were kind of talking about how like in Ireland there's a collection of stories and um I guess in Ireland they are kind of more familiar with that kind of stuff. And it's kind of connected to their legends of the Fae or fairies. They
Oh.
think
Hmm.
it's like those things kind of, I guess they have powers that could involve like kind of bending reality and things like that.
Hmm.
Uh, so there was this one guy that he was in World War One and he got like ex very injured and was discharged. And once he was discharged, he became interested in this. So he went around Ireland kind of collecting stories of the fairies. And I guess they talked about things like barriers
Hmm.
and things. So yeah, there's like accounts of people just walking in like nature or places where they have legends of those fairies and stuff
Hmm.
being about, and they're met with like and they kind of cross into like some other dimension where everything looks the same, but
Hmm.
they're kind of surrounded by an invisible barrier, and people can't find them for like several hours.
Hmm.
And then eventually they find like some sort of gap and they're they go back home
What's
and
the theory behind this? It's like a separate world, a world behind our world. That's a lot of like kind of these things, even religion and things.
uh I guess the phenomena I get, at least when it's in Ireland, it's called like your when that happens to you, is people say you were pixie led or something like that.
Mm.
Um, so they think it's like whatever those things or spirits are, they have some sort of, they're able to kind of cross dimensions or something,
Mm.
and they kind of mess with people that way.
Sorry, so what's the purpose of it? They just, is it to mess with people or what is it? Or they're going about
Gee,
their
I
business and there's some kind of coin some kind of cross.
it seemed to kind of imply that, but there wasn't really like an explanation, uh, explicit one laid out. So I don't know if it's maybe it's just something that just happens. But I heard several accounts of people just doing everyday activities and then just being surrounded by some sort of invisible wall or something.
Mhm.
Uh,
You don't know, you don't remember anything from accounts of the people
oh,
that did this, of to give a clue as to why this is happening or why this happened to them or what happens.
um, not necessarily, but I just have a few more interesting ones. So there was like an Irish priest that he was called at nighttime to go. There was a sick person a couple miles away, and they just wanted him there to offer prayers and comfort. So um, the walk to that place was about maybe 7 miles or so. But he knew of a shortcut that would cut it to only 3 miles. So
Mm.
he took that shortcut and he um he eventually encountered the same thing. He was like in a forest where he walked this path several times and never experienced anything unusual. But he again came upon like a barrier and he was kind of trapped there for like several hours. And he
Mm.
was like trying to find a way out and not panic. And eventually he felt a gap and he was able to kind of get through and get back into this reality in a
Mm.
way. And then he continued on, and but then he decided not to continue on that path anymore. So he just went back home and took the longer way to get to the people.
So 4
Uh,
hours later he was able to offer them prayers.
yeah, and yeah, I think again there what he didn't really have an explanation for it, uh, but there they just call it. They just think fairies are involved.
Mm. And fairies can be good or evil.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Like they can be good or evil or kind of ambivalent. So
Just
I
like
guess
people or
yeah, just like people. Uh, yeah, like I didn't really hear much though on why it might be happening necessarily.
mm. You have
Uh,
any ideas?
I don't know, like I wonder if it has to do with someone's mental state or something. Like maybe they reach some sort of state that kind of makes someone more vulnerable
Mm.
to that kind of stuff or more receptive.
Do you think this could be totally mental?
Mm, I don't know because I guess if it's just a one person kind of saying there's a barrier, it kind of sounds like mental illness. But then if there's maybe multiple accounts, it seems kind of weird. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it's all mental illness or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the many people have one mental illness, that happens with other
Yeah,
things too, and especially in the same culture with the same kind of beliefs or
yeah,
sort of precursor beliefs.
yeah. And then there were like other accounts of it happening here in the US, so not connected to Ireland.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, I just found that interesting, just, you know, kind of realities or dimensions kind of crossing paths.
Mm. What about stuff in the movie yesterday touched on like quantum mechanics and weird universes, black holes, and weird things in the universe? I mean,
Oh, yeah, because I guess in the movie, like it started with they thought it was impossible for what's it called? Those like
Photon.
with isotopes or neutrons to just keep like exploding and bounce off each other.
Oh, I think, yeah,
Uh
splitting the atom was theoretically impossible, but then they just did
yeah.
it. So then,
Yeah, and
one of the themes was theory can only take you so far. And he's very
mhm,
theoretical, so that's kind of like an indication of Oppenheimer's sort of limitations, because it's a biography movie.
um but yeah, like, I guess maybe it's sort of related because I guess quantum mechanics has like in the movie at least it just made what people thought was impossible like something possible.
Yeah,
And I
it
remember,
has contradictions. I don't understand it, but
yeah,
that's what he said. Like a
yeah,
photon can be a particle and a wave, and he
mhm,
said it's a contradiction, and yet it's true.
yeah. And I forgot who was doing the calculations that people said weren't possible at first. I forgot what it was one of the students or professors that were working with Oppenheimer. Um, maybe Hill, but I'm not sure. Uh, but again, like they were kind of bewildered that at the thought that these things could just keep exploding off each other and then the bomb could like end the world
Yeah, you're talking
theoretically.
about the
But
chain reaction.
yeah, the chain reaction. But
Yeah.
but I guess it is true. It was
Yeah.
later found to be
Yeah,
true.
so yeah, quantum mechanics, I don't know anything about it, but it seems
Yeah.
to say things that are contradictory, that it's like a whole new paradigm of science that Einstein didn't like. And yeah, that sort of, I've heard
Yeah.
the generalization that physics now makes a lot of the crazy stuff in philosophy look more respectable or legitimate or something, because it's just the physics is so bizarre and hard to understand.
Mhm. Yeah, like I actually didn't think of it that in that way that you wouldn't think about it necessarily, but in a way it's kind of similar to like ideas about the paranormal in a way.
Yeah, yeah,
Just the
that's what I was just
unreal being
saying.
real.
Yeah. Wormholes, like being able to go instantly across space time, across,
Hmm.
part of the universe. Yeah. But I tend to look at these things in terms of psychology, and I don't think
Hmm.
they're any less mysterious in a way. But yeah, I tend to look at them as like revealing something about psychology or human experience or something like
Hmm.
that, including the fact that maybe many people can experience the same delusion or something. And
Hmm.
what might that mean? And that to me is a mystery and interesting too. But do I not believe in the supernatural or something like that? I don't know. But sort of going with the physics thing, maybe the natural is so much more weird than we know anyway. And there is no supernatural, but the natural is much more
Hmm.
less understandable or
Hmm.
less understood anyway
Hmm.
than we know. So, you know, I'll kind of go with that sort of compromising answer.
Hmm.
But I do think all these things are interesting, and but I consider them more sort of psychology or culture
Hmm.
or something like that, with my mind open to the possibility that it really is uh, something supernatural or anyway, it is a mystery.
Hmm. Yeah, like I've heard some podcasts talking about how the phenomena where there seems to be some sort of strange reality melding or something that maybe there's some quantum physics they don't understand going on
Yeah.
and maybe might be even be connected to like the mind.
And maybe, yeah, maybe the mind isn't something that we think it is. It's not just, you know, neutron. I mean, uh, uh, the brain cells firing and things. Uh, but I tend to go with that, and that to me is yeah. But I don't want to posit a certainty that I don't have either. What's yeah. Well, anything you've been thinking about this week?
Mm, so much. I guess nothing really interesting. I just think more about what I have to do, like
Yeah,
most people.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, maybe I want to get more into like thinking of just not doing or something. When my dad, I kind of mean like maybe one of the purposes of meditation, just not
yeah.
doing.
You still do a little bit of a meditation when you do a group.
Yeah,
Uh,
I do. It's like I always do it at least once a week formally. And then throughout the week during the day, I usually do brief seconds of mindfulness
mm,
and not as much formal meditation.
yeah, that's good. Have you noticed a change over time?
Mhm. Well, I know when I was more consistent, I was more grounded and less reactive.
Mm,
Uh, I think now I still have some of the benefits, but just not like before.
mm,
But I know I could, yeah, I feel like especially when I do those brief seconds of mindfulness, I think I could be get a bit more grounded most of
mm.
the time.
What's a meditation you like to do?
Um, well, I just like to just very basic stuff. So, if I'm outside walking to my car and I feel the wind blowing, I'll pay attention to that. Or if I see the leaves rustling, look at them for a few seconds.
Mm. Yeah,
Just a
nature
lot
is
of,
good for
yeah,
mindfulness.
yeah, just a lot of things with sensations. I like to incorporate a few times
Mm.
for a little bit.
Yeah, those are good. Yeah. I mostly do breathing meditation and the daily meditation on the Waking Up app and almost every day I do some loving kindness meditation
Mhm.
for like a couple minutes. That seems to affect me a
Mhm.
lot. I think it kind of helps me a lot
Mhm.
around other people. Mm.
But yeah, like uh, those the meditations I do, they kind of help me to remember to just exist for a little bit and not be so preoccupied
Yeah, I
with,
think that's important.
yeah.
Okay. Well, try again next week maybe.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, thanks for talking to me today, and I hope you're not too weighed down today.
Yeah, I feel better.
It's good. Okay. Well, take care.